Hello, Dr. Sushma Singh this side. Today in Unit 2 Change, Modernization and Development, let us start today's lecture with the topic Modernization Concept and Features. Modernization is a conceptual framework that articulated a common set of assumptions about the nature of developed societies and their ability to transform a world perceived as both maternally and culturally deficient. Specifically, modernization theorists position a sharp distinction between the traditional and modern societies. They took for granted that economic development from traditional to modern proceeded along a single state unambiguous line. Modernization advocates expected that contact with vital modern societies would accelerate progress in stagnant traditional societies. Now let us discuss the concept of modernization. According to scholars, the process of modernization sums up the changes that combine to convert an agricultural or underdeveloped society with a weak state into an industrialized society with a relatively efficient active government. The modernization process embraces changes that leads up to this industrialization and urbanization. According to Wilbert Murray, the modernization is a total transformation of a traditional or pre-modern society into the types of technology and associated social organizations that characterizes the advanced, economically prosperous, and relatively stable nations of the Western world. Similarly, Daniel Lerner defined modernization as the process of social change in which development is the economic component. In his major work, The Passing of Traditional Societies, Daniel Lerner examined the process of modernization in several Middle East countries, carried out a simple survey in other underdeveloped societies, and supplemented all this with his observations of village society. Lerner's premise is that modernization is a global process occurring in a similar manner the world over, and the role of indices of development like masses, media, urbanization, increase in literacy, etc., are responsible for the emergence of a new economic order. According to Lerner, modernity is a result of not merely institutional changes in society but also due to the changes in the personality of people. He had illustrated this with his account of the grocer and the chef in the village of Balaghat situated in Turkey. For Lerner, one of the crucial aspects of modernization is the development of a mobile personality which is characterized by rationality and empathy. Empathy is the capacity to see oneself in the other person's situation, and this enables people to operate efficiently in a changing world. Modernization then is characterized by a high degree of literacy, urbanism, media participation, and empathy. To him, compared to the traditional individuals, the modern individuals are happier, better informed, and relatively young, and the people placed in the transitional category are inclined to be discontented and liable to extremism. Especially their progress is blocked by a lack of suitable political institutions. But Lerner was aware of the fact that although the people placed in the modern category seemed happier, there were difficulties in development. For example, strains may be put on the government. There are problems of social control, etc. Similarly, there are personal problems at an individual level. For example, individuals placed in the transitional category may have to adjust traditional Arab and Muslim beliefs to a modern setting. Now let us discuss features of modernization. Based on this line of thinking, the main features of modernization may be summed up as follows. The first, it emphasizes a high degree of structural differentiation and specializations. The second, it is based on a mode of production that has come to be known as the capitalist mode of production. It is implied from this that social order is constituted around two important classes: capitalist, which owns the means of production, and the working class, which sells its labor in this process. The third is, it is essentially a wage labor economy. It highlights the growth of a market economy in which both buyers and sellers are seen as individuals capable of engaging in a rational choice and operating within a framework of voluntarism. The fourth is, it highlights the growth of bureaucratic institutions which themselves are constructed on principles of rationality and role differentiation. It is these bureaucratic organizations that are seen as being the foundations of this theory. The entire gamut of institutions that maintains and regulates social order are seen as bureaucratic. The fifth is, it emphasizes the growth of a political system based on the principle of right as crystallized within the notion of state and mediated through a set of constitutional principles. The sixth is, the powers of the state are absolute and there is a democratic process based on the principle of political representation and adult franchise. And the seventh is, this process of democratization of society has led to the existence of various interest groups within the political process who represent various competing ideologies that highlight the different ways in which the affairs of the state are to be managed. And the eighth one is, modernization process also emphasizes the growth of individualism, wherein the individual and individual rights are seen as being at the center of all social, economic and political development. And finally, the modernization processes are emphasize the idea of social progress, and through the process of democratization, it is possible for societies to achieve higher levels of individual and social emancipation. Here we want to close our today's lecture. Thanks for listening.